Hello YouTube and welcome back to my channel. In today's video, we're going to be going over stacking and why it's gotten so bad lately inside of Warzone, especially with the return of Rebirth Island. Now, stacking's always been a thing, just like camping in a corner or using a riot shield with Kali sticks, but instead of being every now and again in a gaming session, it's now basically every single game. Now, before we go any further, I can already hear people typing in the comments down below, but karliss, it's a team-based game. You're solo queuing into a match and rushing 4 people all the time. What do you expect? What I will say is you have got a point to an extent, but just let us explain. So I'm going to kick things straight off with an analogy. So let's take football, for instance, or soccer if you're across the pond. The aim of the game is to get the ball in the opponent's goal, and the team with the most balls in the back of the net, aka goals, wins the game. So let's imagine for a second that you go to watch a game of football, okay? And instead of passing, using skills and tactics to get as many goals as possible, what you see is your team just passing around their defensive area for 90 minutes. You're going to get pretty annoyed and bored, and you're likely to never watch a game of football again in your life, right?
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
But of course, that's not what happens. We see amazing things done on the football pitch, like Messi taking on what looks like an entire team and scoring, or Ronaldo bicycle kick, or watching Troy Deeney scoring a last-minute goal to secure a place at Wembley.
Here's Hulk! Deeney!
My point being, as much as it's completely allowed if you wanted to just pass the ball for 90 minutes, it's widely accepted that football is played for these moments, to watch your team score goals, win games and lift trophies, and with that you accept all the highs and the lows that come with it. Now, can you see how that relates to Call of Duty at the minute? We are seeing entire teams sit in not just a building, but in a single room within a building and just waiting for an unlucky team to come by and only rotate when the zone has forced them out of that building for them only to go and sit in another building. And yeah, you might think this is just teamwork, but it has a knock-on effect as to how the lobby plays out. There's not as many engagements, so it feels slow and boring to play. When teams do fight, the likelihood is one team gets wiped as they're on top of each other, so the lobby dies too quickly. And ultimately, the teams that are doing this have the worst FPS ability and are never going to get better with this playstyle. And let's not forget, guys, when we do decide that no one uses movement and gameplay mechanics and then takes it all away, we end up with games like Modern Warfare 2, and we all know how that went. Now, since we are talking about Rebirth Island here, which is a resurgence game mode, meaning when you die, you ultimately come back unless your squad is wiped or the resurgence times out in endgame, to me at least sounds more like multiplayer. Now, in multiplayer, you don't see 6 people sat in one room on a map or making rotations whilst holding hands. What you see, which is what COD intended, is individual gunfights around the map creating dopamine-fueled moments like 1v2s, 3s, even 4s, or popping off on a kill streak where you're sat in a helicopter absolutely destroying the lobby. And now you have people in their free time where they could do literally anything they wanted to, or choosing to play Call of Duty and sit in a corner and not move every single game. Like, bro, you are literally doing nothing. I mean, not a single thing. It makes zero sense to us. I mean, I suppose the reason I thought about making this video was relevant is because, objectively speaking, it never used to be like this. I mean, just look back at Warzone 1, Rebirth Island. It was a place to chill out and have a sandbox experience while still playing battleroyale. And it's not to be taken too seriously. I mean, you would down a guy top prison, say, and his team would be control center, another would be bio, and the last guy might have been in living quarters. And I don't know about you, but that was the best time we had on Rebirth. I don't want to make this completely one-sided against the stackers, because I do believe there is a time and a place, even in COD, where stacking to an extent is acceptable. The obvious one here is, of course, rank. You're playing against the very best relative to your ability, so it makes complete sense to slow down, squad up, and play methodically with a plan, which is ultimately going to get you more kills and get the win, hopefully. But the key difference here is that there is something to play for. You are fighting against everyone else to get as high up the ranks for pride, to find out how good you actually are, and to gain SR. And the other acceptable place to stack is in Battle Royale. As much as there is buy stations, gulags, redeploy flares, etc., it's still very much you die and the game's over. So again, it makes sense to run with your squad as a squad to fight your way to endgame and get the dub. Because when you do, it's one of the most fulfilling feelings to have.
Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh my god!
But I'm absolutely not saying land in, get your loadout and hide in center zone until you're pushed out by storm, because that's not how any FPS is intended to be played. And just to leave you with a thought here for all the stacking squads out there, you aren't winning games. The very playstyle you adopt doesn't work. I don't see anyone make it to the World Series of Warzone, let alone Rebirth Endgame with that tactic, and yet you do it anyway. As soon as you have to use movement or any type of gun skill, you haven't got the ability to back it up. So it makes the 90% of the game where you sit in a corner completely redundant. So what I'm saying is, to have fun, to get fulfillment, and to experience life, video games, anything for that matter, you have to put yourself out there to enjoy it. But with that, you have to accept the risk it might not always end up going your way. If you get in a relationship and get your heart broken, you're better prepared for your next relationship. If you don't get that job you applied for, you're better prepared for the next job you apply for. If you get into a gunfight in COD and die, you are better prepared for the next gunfight. So with all that being said, guys, stop holding hands and get into some gunfights. I'll see you all later.